I'm going to do today is I'll show you ways to help understand how to deal with violent behaviours and how you can change it, but there's no guarantee because someone's always got a choice. People can choose how they want to act in any one moment, but by how I am, I can often influence the behaviour. So what I want to do is I want to take you through that process, and I want you to help you to understand how am I going to deal with something that could be potentially dangerous for me, especially when I'm going out on the street. So what I look for is things that I can do that may stop me being picked as a target, and also if I am picked as a target, the things that I can do that may stop it. And then also, if it does get to being physical, the things that I can do that's going to help me the most in getting out of the situation. Because the longer you stay in it, the more chance the person's got of hurting you. So what I'm trying to do is to eliminate at all the different places that I can do that. But what I want to do also is help you to find skills to build self-confidence. Because often an attacker will pick someone who looks vulnerable, that doesn't seem to have a sense of confidence about themselves, a sense of certainty about themselves. So those are the things that we're going to do. But a lot of it is about, I'm going to talk to you and I want you to actually answer the questions so that you know that you actually have the answers. Right? I'm just going to assist you in having the confidence to believe in yourself. So those are the things that we're going to do. So if you were walking down the street and someone did follow you, what would you start to think about, or what would you look for? This is interesting. Right, what would you look for? What's going to help you in this situation? Because the person who's picked you, if they're following you and they're planning to attack you, they know that they can beat you. All right, no one's going to pick a fight where they're not going to win. So what we're going to do is what's going to assist us to be stronger? What's going to assist us in actually stopping this big person thinking, I'm not as strong as what I thought I was to pick on this person. So what would I look for that would give me power and strength? Yeah, for sure. So the first thing that I would always do, number one thing that I would always do is if I'm walking somewhere, just see where all the people are. Where are all the people? And if I can, and if I'm walking on my own, I will often walk with a group of people. So I used to walk along a river track, and I used to walk before I went to work. And I would get there at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was dark. But there was plenty of people who were walking the track at that time. So what I did was I sat in my car until I saw a group of people walk by, and I'd actually hop in behind them and go and walk with them. Now I'm not walking on my own, even though I am on my own. So that's one way. So that's a really good thing to do. But also, the thing that you're looking for as well is having a look at the people that are walking and what do you feel about them. So I would look for a group of people that seem to be trustworthy. So I would look for maybe a group of women. Walk with a group of women. I might walk with, maybe an elderly man and his wife and his grandchildren. Are they likely to attack you? So if I leave an area, sometimes I'm like, if I go to the pictures or something like that, I may link into another group of people and just walk with a bunch of people. I do it in Melbourne all the time. I'll just wait and take a moment. So that's a very, very good thing. So always try and walk with people as much as you can. All right? And I'm a martial artist. I'll give you an idea of my skills. I've actually been taught how to break people's legs, knock them out. And I've actually been taught how to kill people. But I don't do that. Right? But I do preventative things. So I look at how do I become comfortable in walking on my own. And these are the ways that we do it. So that's number one. Yes, I would always look. But I'd also look at what people tell me. If there was let's say it's a school day today, isn't it? Let's say I went for a walk at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and there was a group of young boys, and say maybe 14 to 16 years of age, and they were standing across a footpath. What are they saying to me? What's going on in their life? Tell me what you think is happening for them. If it was today and it was 2 o'clock this afternoon, what do you think is happening in their life? For them to be standing on a footpath at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, standing across and blocking it. Watch out. All right, why? You know, this is it. You know, watch out. But what's happening in their life? What do you think is making them stand there? Have a guess. They want attention, yes? So why are they looking for attention? There's something happening in their life that's making them look for attention. Where would you expect those boys to be at 2 o'clock this afternoon? At school. So they're not at school, are they? So tell me, why would they not go to school? What are the reasons why they wouldn't go to school? They'd stop going to school and then they'd gather together in a group of boys.
Having problems.
They're having problems at school. So do you think someone who's doing really, really well at school is achieving really good marks, has got lots and lots of friends, do you think that they would walk away from school and not go to school? No, so you know that maybe they're not succeeding at school. And see, when they're not succeeding, do they feel powerful or powerless? Powerless. So right now, just simply by knowing that 2 o'clock in the afternoon, these boys are not at school, so they've decided to walk away from something that is really powerful. So it tells me there's no success there for them. So what I'm doing is actually figuring out, okay, what is making them think the way that they think? Because this is going to help me in talking to them. When I talk to them, if I need to talk to them, it's going to help me understand what's going on for them. And then when I talk to them, I'm going to make sure that they don't feel powerless. I want them to feel powerful, not dominant. Do you know what I mean by dominant? Where you will feel powerless and they will feel powerful. All right, so they don't succeed at school. What else would stop them going to school? So we know they haven't got good marks. What's another reason that it stopped them going to school? Yes, being bullied at school. All right, so if someone's been bullied at school, do you think they feel powerful or powerless? Powerless. So just simply by 2 pieces of information, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they're not at school, you can see that there's probably powerlessness in their life. Now they're standing across a footpath and there's 5 of them. Can you see how now they're being really successful at being powerful? They're actually now being really powerful. This is a fantastic way to get power in their life because there's probably something in their life that is causing them not to feel powerful. For example, 10 o'clock in the morning, I've got a guy walking towards me. He's smoking a cigarette. It would say to me, he's not working. He might be doing night shift, but smoking a cigarette, what does that say to me? Why do people smoke cigarettes? No, they don't. Why do they start to smoke cigarettes? Why would someone start to smoke a cigarette? They're curious. But here it's a substance that's likely to kill them. It's not good for their health, so why do they start? Peer pressure. Now, peer pressure, it means that you need to show me that you're going to fit in. Does that make them feel powerful or powerless to do that? Think about it. So when someone starts smoking a cigarette, it says to me they're trying to act tough. So it's creating an image, and it's creating an image to look powerful because they feel powerless. Do you see it? So do you see how different actions actually communicate things to you? So I know that at 10 o'clock in the morning, someone walking towards me smoking a cigarette, it tells me straight away, this could be a person that has powerlessness in their life and I need to create awareness around them. I need to know that whether because I know they have powerlessness, so sometimes people will choose to do powerful acts to get the balance back, and sometimes that might be being violent. You can get power by being violent, but the thing is that that power actually disempowers their life. So what I want you to do is learn to read people. Sometimes, like me, I'm in a workplace and I see people getting really upset, stressed, and I start to listen to how they live their life. And I see stress is because a lot of the time it can be because there's powerlessness there. They feel like they're a victim, that they don't have the ability to overcome their situation. So what they might do is they might talk in a sense of, I'm upset with people. Upset, right? Someone who's angry and upset means that they're hiding pain, which is a sense of powerlessness. You see, so sometimes people will act out physically to get their power back. Someone who is really self-confident doesn't need to disempower people around them. Right? For example, I work in a prison. And I've had a lot of prisoners come up to me and say to me, "Miss, you're different." And the reason why is because I live and create intentions in my life. And my intention is to live in love and respect. Right? Love, trust. Or the opposite to that is fear and doubt. So what it is when you're talking to people, work out which realm are they living in. Are they living in love and trust, or are they living in fear and doubt? Alright, because tell me, can I have trust and doubt in the same situation? I either trust myself or I doubt myself. I can't trust and then doubt. It doesn't work that way. I can't have them together. So what I'm going to do now is with this situation with these 4 boys, I'm going to think of how do I, because what do they want me to feel? They're standing across the street path, they're blocking it. What do they want me to feel? Love and trust or fear and doubt? Fear and doubt. So if I go to fear and doubt, what happens is that they know for sure that they have success. It's called the certainty strategy, which is 5 of them plus my fear and doubt equals them being able to dominate and feel powerful. So what I've got to do is I've got to scramble that sum. So what I've got to think of is how do I build trust, not doubt? Even though I might feel scared, but I can still build trust by the actions that I take. So if I'm walking down the street and I'm walking on my own, we're going to look at preventative things. One is look for people. What else can I do? If I'm walking down the street on my own, what are some of the things that I can do that's going to make me less of a target? Link myself into someone. What else can I do? Say hi. Say hello. I often walk down the street and I'll be walking past someone and I'll go hello, but I won't go hello. What am I saying when I say that? Is this love and trust when I'm going hello? Or is it fear and doubt? You can see it. See how it's easy to see once you actually start putting it in there? So I've got to look at confidence. Hello, how are you? See how I do that? And I will actually say it to people. I'll do a quick look. Hello, how are you? See how it's just quick and short? But it shows a sense of confidence. All right, so the way I say it, so I'm going, hello, how are you? See how the tone of my voice doesn't sound confident?
Yeah. They refuse to have an eye contact with us, or
if they refuse, then that's fine. With me, like I'll just say hello. I've had people walk away and turn their head and put their head down. But is that a reflection of me or is that a reflection of them? So am I saying hello for them to give me something back, or am I just saying hello because that's who I want to be?
say hello, and then they just look away trying to pretending not listening or look away, even though I said hello to them.
Yeah, and people will do that. But that's because they're living in fear and doubt. All right, but it does tell you something, doesn't it? So if they're living in fear and doubt, someone who turns away and doesn't look at me and moves away, that often says to me, so this person could play a power game with me, especially if I have that at work. I've been at work and I've actually said hello to my work colleagues, and they've turned away and pretended that they haven't heard me. But you know what? Often what I do is when I look at them and I work with them, I often see that they talk about a lot of stress things in their life and their relationships aren't working. And I often think, that's a reflection of them and the consequences of their choices in their life. And if you do something, I always look at what's the result of what I'm doing. And if that result is that I get people to connect with me, I get people who trust me, people who feel confident with me, all right, people who want to come and talk to me, then that tells me that I'm actually probably on the right track of love and trust. So if I find someone's getting really angry with me, then maybe I'm thinking, have I done anything that may have caused this? And I look at my action and see whether I can step up and do something different. Or are they doing something to me because they feel powerless and they want to control me? Because they might like, I'll look away, I'll need to talk to Fiona, and that'll annoy her. All right, and if I get annoyed, doesn't that give them the 2 + 2? If I act this way and she gets upset, that equals me having power over her. And see, what I do is, if someone looks away and doesn't say hello to me, I'll think, I wonder what's going on in their life. I wonder what's causing them to do that. Now what I'm doing is I'm no longer judging them. I'm now actually trying to understand them. Now, is judgment in love and trust or fear and doubt? Fear and doubt. Is understanding them in love and trust or fear and doubt? See the difference? So what I'm looking at is I want my life to be filled with love and trust, respect, understanding, connection, joy, happiness. So I think of everything that I do, am I in that realm or not? And I judge it. Do I get it in my family? So if my husband's really upset with me, does that mean that I have to get upset too? No, because you see how you getting upset at me actually is a form of control. Is he trusting me when he gets upset with me? Or is he doubting me when he gets upset with me? So right now, I have the ability to choose. Do I choose to be in love and trust or fear and doubt in my response to him? Now what I'm doing is I'm no longer reacting to my life, I'm now creating my life. See the difference? And is creating life in love and trust or fear and doubt. And the reason why I'm getting you to understand this is because if you can do it in your relationships with your friends, you can do it in the relationship with your husband, your family, which is often the harder relationships to do it in, because they know how to annoy you. Then what happens is if I can do it there, then I can do it anywhere. And I can practice that every single day. And if I practice that every single day, when I come into contact with these 5 boys on the street and they're clearly doing something to create fear in me, I now have the ability, because I've practiced in my life, to now, instead of judging these boys, I can now understand these boys. See the difference? So now when I go up to them, I'm going to have a completely different mindset, a completely different spirit about me. Even though I might be a little bit scared, I've often said to myself, when I've been in situations, Fiona, understand, respect. I actually tell myself in my head, when I go to fear and doubt, I'll often say, how do I understand this person more? How do I walk a moment in their shoes? How do I listen to them rather than shut down and shut off? Do you know what I'm saying here? So, I'm going to go up to these boys, and clearly, if I don't have to go up to them, I won't. I've got 5 boys standing in the street. I'm not going to go up to them even then. I'm going to avoid them if I can. All right? So where am I going to go? I could walk with someone, but where else could I go if there's 5 boys standing on the street? Opposite side to the road. It's always good if you're walking on your own to actually walk towards the traffic so that no one can come up behind you and actually, if I'm walking, I'll just hop up for a second. if the traffic's going this way and I'm walking this way, can you see how a car can come up behind me and I not see it? Then they can get out and grab me and pull me into a car. But if I'm walking this way, then the car would have to come across the road. And that would look odd to other people around. So therefore it will draw attention to me. Now I've got people linked to me with their eyesight. So I'll walk towards the traffic. That's the number one thing that I can do. What's something else that I can do that can actually create absolute attention, right, or awareness about this situation? So one, right, I can walk to the opposite street. If, say we've got 5 boys here, all right, and you're the footpath and I'm walking up and then I get to here and I go to the other side of the street here. What would they do? They would chase me. Because, hang on a second, they haven't got success in their life, and now they've decided to play a game, and it's clearly working. So now, why would they walk away from success? This is success. I have a follower. I've created fear, so now I'm going to follow them because I'm clearly winning. Are they going to walk away? No. So if I'm not going to walk here, how far away am I going to cross the road? Where am I going to notice them? Right, so when I walk into the street, this is what I do. Today, when I go to walk out of here, I'll actually look a quick scan up and around and have a look up into here. When I'm driving here, I was actually looking at landmarks. If something happened as I'm walking along, is there somewhere that is a point of help for me? So I often look at what's a public place. So for me, the homemaker centre across the road. Is someone likely to follow you into a homemaker centre, or are they likely to follow you up the street? Up the street because it's quieter, isn't it? So I think about where I'm going to go. What I'll often do is if I walk out onto the street and I want to walk home, I'll look up and down the street first, have a look at who's around me, and then walk. If I don't feel comfortable, I'll wait. So that means that if I actually am in a hurry to go somewhere, being in a hurry can often stop you being aware. All right, so give yourself some time. All right, organise your time. So if you're going to go to a bus stop, I would be very cautious about standing at a bus stop on your own because it's sometimes very lonely. Is there somewhere that you can actually sit? Is there a shop somewhere close by? Or something where you can actually go early, hop into the shop, and then just walk up a couple of minutes before the bus comes. Things like that. Those are the sorts of things that will help prevent for me. The other thing too is I have noticed lots of mobile phones, which is fantastic. But hopping on a mobile phone and walking with your head down, are you aware? So be mindful if you're talking on the phone that you need to create awareness. If you've got a mobile phone and you want to listen to, maybe some of, do you listen to Muslim lectures or anything on your phone? Be careful putting 2 earphones in because you actually stop yourself being aware. So often, if I'm going to put an earphone in, I'll put one in and I must be able to hear my footsteps. Alright? My bags. Okay. If anyone, actually, just pull out your mobile phone for a minute, and I want you to, anyone who's got one. All right, and keep the screen black. Don't have the screen on. I'm just going to try and pull mine out. Here we go. I'm going to stand here. I've just looked at half of the room. Did you see that? I use my mobile phone to look at half of the room. All right, and then I can just, I might do that. Now I just look at the other half of it. And I did it without actually turning around and going, see that? So what I can often do is if I think I hear someone behind me, I can just pull up my mobile phone or my sunglasses. If you wear sunglasses, you can do the same. Just turn them over and just look at them over your shoulder. And that way you can actually see behind you. You can use windows to look behind you as well. So you have all of those sorts of things. Be careful texting. Texting is actually a lack of awareness. Most people get out and you watch them, they're texting like this, totally unaware. Most attacks, if they're going to be random, will come from behind. But sometimes they'll come on the front if they feel that they're powerful enough to overpower you no matter what you do. But it's the ones that come from behind where people aren't sure. So the ones that come from behind, it actually tells me that I've got a better chance of getting away from this person if I do a few more things than someone who comes straight in on me. But if someone comes up to you and says, oh, have you got the time? I won't say, oh, no, sorry, and walk off because that shows fear and doubt. Yeah, sure. See how I get, my arm is now a barrier, and I can still interact with someone, go here, and I'll say, yeah, it's 20 past 11. But see how I'm here, and I'm watching. Someone asks me the time, I will be very, very aware of seeing whether there's any energy buildup. If I notice these boys standing on the street, the 5 boys, I would change my direction and I would go into a shop. I would not probably approach them. That's me as well. Yes.
Going back to the phone.
Yeah.
Pretending that you're on a phone call can be a strategy.
Yes, it can. It can. I know a person who was at Southern Cross Station in the city when it was the old one. It was before it was redesigned. And he was sitting on it, and he ran to the train, missed the train, and then sat down to wait for the next train to come along. And what happened was there was a boy up this end of the platform, and a boy up the other end of the platform, and he thought, I'm going to get robbed here. And he knew it. So he pulled out his mobile phone, and he rang a number and said, security, security, we're going on platform 3 on camera 2, can you see them? And these boys just started doing this. And next minute they took off. And he had no battery in his phone was dead. And so he pretended. I'm often hopped on my mobile phone, but I've got to make sure that I am aware when I've walked from one building to my car, especially in town, and I talk to my husband so that if anything happens to me, he can get me assistance while I'm talking, and if he hears the phone get knocked out until I hop in the car and lock the door. And so that's how I do it. And I'm a martial artist, black belt in 2 different martial arts. So, you know, I do these preventative things, but I don't go about being on the I'm so scared. Because if I go with that sort of spirit about me, then I'm already a target for anybody out there who's looking for vulnerability. I go out with a sense of confidence, knowing that I've got many tools to deal with the situation, not just one. So I don't rely just on my husband. I don't rely on just the people in front of me. I layer it. What I mean is that, yes, I'll have my mobile phone, I'll have an emergency number. I'll ring my husband if I need to. I know martial arts, so if something happens, I do it. I walk with confidence, I talk with confidence. I've learned to know that I've got the ability to influence my surroundings. So that's why I practice so much living in love and trust with my husband. Would I trust these boys that are standing on the street? No way. No way. But what I do is I trust how I'm going to act. That's what I can control. Yes.
How do you build confidence when you are facing someone who looks violent already and they're intoxicated even?
Yeah, for sure. What I do is I practice strategies at home. So I'm going to tell you one strategy that I do. I actually create a connection strategy. These guys are clearly on the street going to make you feel scared. So what I do is I learn to control my emotions. What emotion do I want to feel? So if my husband's getting really, really angry at me, I don't get angry back. I feel like getting angry sometimes, but what I do is I tell myself in my head, what do I want to feel and what do I want to create in this situation? So what I do is I control my emotions by creating, not reacting. See the difference? So what I do is I look at, okay, I'm going to practice strategies when there's no stress. So I create a connection strategy. What I do is when I go home, this is what I do when I go home. I have one for when I go home and I have one for when my husband comes home. What I do is I park my car in the shed and I actually, before I get home, I plan it. I actually start thinking about, okay, I'm going to do this when I get into the house. I back my car into the shed, I hop out, I walk into my kitchen and I'll yell out, hello, And what I'm doing is I'm actually calling out to the people in my house. I'm calling out to them. I want to connect with you. All right, and if my kids say, "Oh, hi Mum, how are you?" Okay, "Hi kids, how are you? Where's Dad?" Because what I do is I always ask for him first, because I want him to know that he is important to me. So what I'm doing is now I'm creating a significant strategy for my husband to say to him, "I want you, right? You are important to me." See what I'm doing? All right, so I'll call out to him. He'll go, "Oh, I'm here in his home." And then I will go to him. Because I'm making him important. I'm creating a significant strategy. Significance is a very, very important need for the human personality. So that's what I do. Then what I do is I'll find him, and the first thing that I do is I look straight into his eyes. I remember the day that I got married and I walked into the church, and as soon as I saw him, our eyes met, and I just had this huge smile on my face, and it filled my heart. I actually know how it felt. How did it feel in my body? Where do you guys feel it? When you see your husband, when you see your children, where do you feel it? And actually notice where you feel things. I feel it in my heart, and I remember just feeling like it go boom, straight out of here. All right, and what I did was I'm actually now creating heaps of energy when I see the person that is significant to me. Now, if I actually do that, can you see how it can change my spirit? Now my husband sees that I call out to me, and he sees that I am radiating. Do you reckon he would feel fantastic when I do that? It feels important. Then what I do is I look into his eyes, I go up and I kiss him and I hug him. But I do it the same way, because now what I'm going to do now is another core need, which is certainty. I'm actually creating a certainty strategy that he knows no matter what, that I will love him, I will create significance with him, and I will connect with him. Now, he knows, am I in love and trust now, or fear and doubt? I'm in love and trust. So I actually start creating this with my husband. No matter whether he's had a good day, whether he's had a bad day, whether I've had a good day or I've had a bad day. And then what I do is I give him a big kiss until he stops. And then I give him a big hug until he stops. I'll just hang on. All right? And I'm not thinking, "Oh, I've got vegetables to do." All right? Or I've got such a mess in the house. See, if I think I've got a mess in the house and I've got tears to put on and all of this sort of stuff, am I making him more important, or am I making vegetables more important? See what I'm doing? And see, so do you see how if I don't create that, he doesn't feel worthy of my presence? So therefore, what do you think is going to happen, and how do you think he's going to feel? And then what I do is I'll turn back and I'll say, "Tell me about your day." And I will give him, if I've only got 30 seconds to do it, I will do it, and I won't be thinking, "Oh my God, I've got the vegetables to do," while I'm listening to him. I actually get it all out of my head. And I absolutely am present for him. And I listen to him. Now, I have a pretty intense job. I work in a prison. I work with violent prisoners. I've had prisoners who have acted out sexually towards me. I've had prisoners with razor blades. I've had prisoners who try to kill each other in front of me. I did this with a prisoner who was acting out sexually, and I did components of all these things that I did with my husband, and I completely flipped his behaviour to the point where he actually said, "Miss, I really respect you." After he was acting out towards me in a sexualised manner. I flipped his behaviour not by how he wanted it to be, but by how I was. And I knew that I needed to create significance for him, and I knew that I needed to create certainty for him, and I needed to respect him. I did not judge him, I understood him. And because I did that, it was something that he had never had before, and it completely disarmed his behaviour. And it changed it, and we actually had a great discussion.
And the following week, I walked into his cell. He was naked again. He grabbed a cloth and wrapped it around himself. This was after he had acted out sexually. Wrapped it around himself and said, "Sorry, miss." And I said, "I see that. Thank you. I really appreciate it." Hear what I'm saying? One, I said, "I see you," which is I'm giving him significance. So I'll often say things like, "I see you, I notice." Right? So think of all of those words. All right? It is so worthwhile to do something, because sometimes if someone doesn't believe in themselves, I'll say the words, "It is so worthwhile to do that," because I'm actually saying you are worthy. Hear the words that I'm using? So if you can put them in your language, what would be something that inspires the people around you? Because if I practice that every day with my family, then with these 5 boys on the street, I can do it with them too. Even when I'm under stress or when I'm in fear, I can actually do trust strategies and love strategies. And then what I do is that when I finish with my husband, I'll go and do the same thing with my kids. And I'll say to my kids, "Tell me about your day." Right? And I'm going home, I've been away from my kids for about 10 days. So I've been sending them texts to say, "I can't wait to hug you," all right? And things like that. See how I'm saying to my kids, "You are worthy." Now, those boys that are in that school, what do you think their teachers have been saying about them? You're naughty boys, right? You're not succeeding, right? You're no good, you won't amount to anything. They're going in front of it, they've been noticed for being bad. So they say, "Well, I'm going to be fantastic at being bad." And they get noticed for being bad. So now they have significance, but it's all in the wrong place. And what they do is they do it for power, but actually don't get connected at all. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm teaching you these things. So what do you need to do? So there's significance. Build the people around you with significance. How can I inspire this person every time I talk to them? And I say to myself every time, am I going to achieve it every time? No, but if I create an intention in my head to do it, then I'm more likely to do it 98% of the time. 98% now, if you think someone who lives with me saying how fantastic they are, how inspired I am to see them, how I want to hug them, how I want to kiss them, do you reckon they'll feel fantastic in their house? And it is very important for a man to know that he is enough. That he is enough, and that he is worthwhile, and that he is lovable. And if you create that for them, they will do anything for you. But you don't do it for them to do anything for you. You do it because that is the way to love. Right? That's how you inspire. So now I'm going to come up to these 5 boys on the street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the same connection strategies, but I'm not going to hug and kiss them. You got it? It's just too far. But what I can do is I can go up and I can connect with the same inspiration because I've actually learned how to do it. And I've gone up to kids, and you can see them, and what I'll do is I'll actually look at how they're reacting to me. So can I have some volunteers? Would anyone like to volunteer? Yes, fantastic. We've got one. I'm just going to show you how I quickly would go up to these 5 boys. Now, there's no guarantee that this will work, but I'll show you. Who else would like to volunteer? All right, anybody else?
How many do you need?
We'll go for 3 or 4. Okay. Beautiful, excellent. Well done. And see, the thing is too, is sometimes I don't sit on the floor very often. My bones are old. All right, I'll sit this over here. All right, no, just jump over down. All right, now I want everyone just to look at my face as I do this. And what I'll do is just look like that out of the way a little bit. Does someone want to work this for us and just watch? Come this way a little bit because I need some space here around the back of you. So if I was coming up to these 5 boys, and I would usually have 2 hands, not just one. All right. And I would come up and I'd go, "Oh, hi boys, how are you? You good? Yes? Yeah. How's your day?" Not good, not good. Hey, look, we are hard if I get through to you. I thank you, thank you. It's so nice, thank you very much. And I would go through, I would not normally come straight through here. But what I'm doing is there is a lot of communication going on there. I want you to start to notice how people talk to you. Now, Senna is my friend and we love each other dearly. But what did she say to me when she got up there? Who saw what she did? Did anyone see what she did? I'm noticing what everyone is doing. As she started acting tough, she put her leg out, she stood up straight. There's no way I'm going near her. Right? Because she's already telling me, no matter what, I'm going to dominate you, and she's the leader. Did you see her leading? So I'm thinking, no way, she's going to stand up to me, 100%. So I did it. And then what did you see me do? I asked questions, didn't I? What was the first thing that I did? I noticed what you did, because you did it before I even started. Right? But what did you see what I did? I said, hello. I said, how are you? And I was nodding my head. Everything that I do says something to these people. I said, hello. So I did it with a wave. What did I next do with my hand? You saw it. I did this. What does this say? It's an ask. Usually you do that hand gesture when you ask. What else do you do with this hand gesture? What is it another sign of? It's reaching out. I'm reaching out. What else? What else do you do when you do this? I'm giving. So my hand gesture has lots of communication with it. I can do exactly the same thing. Hello, how are you? Yeah, see that? Do you see what my hand does? And often at home, you don't even realize what your body is doing and what it's saying to the people around you. All right? I could stand there and my husband could be talking to me. Right? What's this saying to my husband? So I need to think. I actually think if I'm going like this, I'm in reaction. So I think of how do I create a moment where I open and I do giving gestures. And I think about it on this level. Do you see how now I'm not unconscious, I'm aware? Now if I'm aware to that level, then I'm aware when I go out on the street. And if I'm aware when I go out on the street, then I'm less likely to get picked. So I said, how are you? You good? Yes. And I'm looking, you nodded very well. So she was the person that I asked. I said, how was your day? And she goes, not good. So then she said, not good. So that would make me think, okay, I need to be mindful here. And if she says, it's not good, and I said, oh, but I might say something like, I hope you have a fantastic day. Because if you're saying not good, he said, well, it's not fantastic, it's damn well blah. Right? And you might do something like that. I said, it sounds like, things are not going so well for you. And I hope that they do. I hope that we can change that. I might say something like that, so I'll use what they say to me. So I don't say, oh, that's so bad. Because I'm saying, it's not good. And I'm saying, it's so bad. Can you see how that would drive the emotion more? So what I say. So I'm mindful of what I say. So if I use a word, right, you don't. If I say that to my husband, you don't. What sort of reaction will it have? Yeah, so you can start to see the words that I choose can be very important. So I'm looking at, I'll say, I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's not fantastic, right? It's effed up, right? And they will start to use really aggressive, dominant language. They'll say, it's people like you that are that, right? And off it goes. And I just let that wash past me. Because I know that their words is more about them than it is about me. They're not judging me. They're trying to create safety for them. So I've got to change it and not be responsible for their world, but I need to assist in their world. So I need to step into their world and understand it. See what I'm doing with all of you? Everything that you're doing, I'm actually learning how to do these things and just be mindful of the time. So then I actually asked her, I said, you don't mind, do you? And then I stood here and I'm shaking my head and I go, yes. And I'm asking yes questions because I want to see who says yes to me. The person who says yes to me is not resisting me. The person who doesn't say anything has got resistance. And the other people who are just standing there looking at me, I'm not going to go near them. You see what I'm saying? They're actually talking to me. Who's going to resist me? You didn't. You said yes. And then I said, you don't mind, do you? All right, and then, who knows what I said next? Move. Yes, you are so spot on. All right? See what I'm doing with you? I'm actually encouraging her. You are so spot on. I'm saying you are worthy, you are smart, you are. See how those words are inspiring? And then I said, thank you. And when I said thank you, did you notice what she did? She actually moved. I didn't say thank you when I got through. I said thank you beforehand. Because it now assumes that you are going to respect me. And if you don't, then I actually went through with my hand up. And I have my hand up to you because you didn't really say no or didn't move. And I said, thank you, thank you. And I might do it this way. I might go here. I might have my hand up to here. Be mindful of her. She's not resisting me anymore. She's resisting me. And I'll say, and I'm doing it with absolute sincerity. Can I do that if I practice it in my everyday life? To be sincere. All right, so now what you do is you see that I have absolute pure intention for you rather than being reactive and thinking that you're a mongrel. All right, if I think that you're a mongrel or that you're a druggie or you're a thug, all the labels, I don't use those labels. What I do is I think, this boy has got so much powerlessness in their life. See how now that will soften me? But if I think you're a thug, see how I will muscle up, I'll go to dominance. And then I got to here and I said, thank you. And I might say something, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, you deserve it. Hear all the language that I'm using. But when I go through, I've got this arm up. Why would I have that arm up? Why would I? Defense. Because I know that this game may not work. But has it got a better chance to work and say, excuse me, I'm going, if I do that, what do you think their reaction will be? I might get through, but how do you think they will feel? Even more powerless. So they're doing this game to feel powerful. So there could be a chance here that it will escalate massively. Or they might say, man, I'm not going near her, she do us over. So I've got both. But see, the next time these boys go somewhere, they're going to make sure the next game that they've got the upper hand. So they might have a stick. So what I'm doing is the way I react to you and the way I don't react, I look at creating. The way I talk to you is about looking after me and my community afterwards. So it goes on a much bigger level. All right, but what I'm doing now is I'm watching to see whether, when I get to here, whether there's any movement from anyone, whether there's any energy. Does anyone here who knows who Steve Irwin was, the crocodile man in Australia? He used to look for energy build up in his crocodiles. And he knew when they were going to absolutely go off and go, try and chop them up and then do so. I do the same. I actually look for energy build up in people. Because I can stand here, you can sound quite relaxed, but if you see a movement forward that tells me there's an intention towards me, I need to be mindful of that. I put my hand up because I know from down here to up here is a long distance to be able to protect my head, and the first place that they'll try and hit me is probably in my head. But do you see how this now has got the ability of much more to probably work? No guarantee. There's no guarantee. But if we treated our young men with this sort of intention that I showed you in our house and in our schools, Do you think that we would produce violent men? No. Because at school, we would no longer say, right, you're not good enough. We're actually looking every time in our schools to inspire. With you and your children, do the same. How can I inspire my children? If I say, you're not doing well in your schoolwork, is that going to inspire them? So what I need to do is that, okay, this person isn't succeeding at school, so how do I inspire them to find a way? So I look at how do I give them success. So I'll say, you know what, I think that you're very, very smart, and I reckon we need to look for another way that we can do this. Because many different ways we can find to approach all sorts of things. And that's the way I'll talk to my children, their whole life. And I'll have people come up to me and say to me, your children, I cannot believe your children. Right? They ask, okay, I've got a 14-year-old son and my daughter turned 17 and I have not had, you know, like, how old's the children? 14, oh my God. Children of 14, oh, you know, have they started yet? Are they naughty? Are they disrespectful? I say no. I said my kids are inspirational. And every time I talk about my children, I talk about how fantastic they are. And guess what? I have fantastic children. Because what I do is I actually show them that they are good enough. So if you can do that with your children, then maybe we don't have these 5 boys on the street. But when I go up to them, I'm not going to judge these 5 boys, I'm going to understand them for a moment. Right? But if I understand them 100 metres away, I will not go and talk to them. I'm not going to talk to 5 boys who are clearly doing something. But if I'm here and I have to, I'm going to understand them. I might say, how do I understand you more? He says, no, I'm not having that done. How can I understand them more for you? Tell me what's going on. But I may not want to be in a long conversation here. I need to be mindful of that. Okay? I don't want to be in a long conversation. But if you're stuck somewhere on a train, right, or on a tram, all right, it might be something where you can do something. Right? You might have a conversation. Don't be afraid of conversations. Don't even feel that. But if something escalates, actually give these women a hand. We sit them down. If it does get really bad, I'm going to show you how to handle it. But just tell me, is there anything else that I can do to prevent this situation? Think outside the square. What can I do to prevent it? What can I do about being confident when I walk down the street? You've just seen me with body language. What sort of body language did I have? How did I hold my body? So, what do you call your headscarf? Hijab, alright? If you wear your hijab and you go out on the street, be proud of it. So I've often seen people, you know, they're down. But stick your head up and be proud of your religion. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you can create in your religion. I do that every single day. Like I'm a religious woman as well. And every day I go in, and when I go into the prison, I actually go in there with the intention of I am the one. I actually have that. I say, I am the one. I am the one to make the difference. So every time I work with a prisoner, I think about how can I give him love, understanding, respect. And that's why I have prisoners come up to me and say, you're so different. I have prison officers say to me, you are so different. Because what I do is I live, my whole intention is how do I have a phenomenal day and how do I understand and love the people around me. And that's how I go about my day. Now you can see how I do that today, just with how I talk today. That's why I go into women's groups or even into men's groups and talk the same language, is to actually know that I can create that. And I have completely flipped, as I said, my behaviour by doing it.
You made a point earlier, which I think very important, to say drop all the labeling. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think I need to learn too. And if I see someone on the street with all the attributes, I would normally think this person is a thug, that
Yes.
person criminal. How do you avoid labeling?
So now what I want you to do is see onto the label and think of why is that person doing that? Why are they actually putting on clothes? And they're saying to me, please see me. That's what they're saying, please see me. But I want you to see me of how tough I am, because if you are actually getting people to see that they're seen, because every single person wants to be noticed. All right, your children, for example, the lady who was up here who did the prayer and her daughter was there crying. She's saying, please see me. You see what she was doing? She's saying, please see me. So you can see how primal, which means like how intuitive that drive is to do it. But see, sometimes it probably wasn't done. She wasn't in trust, that young girl. She was saying, I'm too scared to go anywhere else. Please see me, please notice me, please protect me. So she was doing everything that she could to get her mum to protect her. So what I've got to do is think of, okay, what's driving that, and how can I do that for my daughter right now to actually say, you're living in trust. So how can I create trust more? So what I do is with my children is I don't say, oh, you're being so naughty. I'll say, how do I actually create environments where she trusts me more? And it might be is that I'll say to her, go and play, but then I might come back every 5 minutes and say, how are you going? Is it really great? And she learns to know that she's inspired in that moment to play on her own, that she is worthy, that she is seen, that I'm always here. And see how now I've actually created her to trust, but to be joyous in her trust. Whereas she was clearly in fear of doubt in her trust. She wasn't trusting. So I look at, okay, what else can I do? And I can do that with young children. I can do it with older children. So if it's something that you don't want, then think of, what do I do to change it into how I want it to be? And then, if I want to do it with her too, people say, oh, I can't, she doesn't understand. That tells me right now that you're looking that you are not the one, you're doubting yourself. So think about how you can trust yourself. Now, if I can trust myself with my children, I can trust myself with my husband, I can trust myself with my family, I can connect, I can understand, I can practice understanding. So next time when a label comes in, that'll be turn on, and it'll say to me, okay, I need to go deeper and I need to look at how do I understand rather than label. All right, so what I'm going to do is put that in. I'm not judging. I won't say I'm judging. I want to understand. So those are the words that I start to use to change my reaction. And then I won't be reacting. I'll actually start to create. Because judgment is reaction. Yeah? Try it out. See how you go. Yeah? All right?
Before we get into deal I think the first thing we need to do is think of something as how do we deal with our
Okay, so she was just saying, if I have lots of things on my plate, and I've got the children, I've got study, I've got assignments, I've got housework, I've got all of these things, I think of, okay, do I need to look at this is how I do it. Because I work 2 jobs. I've been away. I've been away for 10 days. And I think I'll go home and my house, well, I think my husband's done a fairly good job. So I'll go home, and even if he hasn't done a great job, I'll say, it was so amazing, you did so well. Right? I'm really proud of what you've done. Not the first thing I do is come into the house and look at all the washing in the thing. Right? I'm not, you see how I've said to him, I've left you to it, but now I'm going to criticise you. So what I do is I look at now is, okay, I'm going to understand him. So if I understand him and I understand more, then that'll help me understand myself. So I create it for others to make sure that I create it for myself. Second thing that I do is I always look at my heart. Did I have the best intention to do the best that I can? And if I have the best intention and I think of, did I create as much as I possibly could in this day? And if I don't get everything done that I wanted to get done, it doesn't matter. I had the right heart to start with. And it means that I need to accept the things that I may not do so well. But then look at, okay, can I step it up more? I've been in the same place. I've been into a learning environment. I've had 2 jobs. I've worked, I worked sometimes 32 hours straight. I'll go from one job to the next job and then go back to the other job and then go home and go and have a sleep. And I've got 2 young children. I think, okay, I'm not going to do the washing today. So it'll get done, but I need to think, where do I need to get it done? Okay, I need to get it done here. And so I think I'm happy with what I have done today, even though it doesn't meet someone else's expectation. So I've got to let go of other people's expectation and think of what is the best for myself. So you see how I'm actually changing that? And then I look at, is there any moment that I could have used my time better? Or could I have just been happy just watching the television? Sitting with my children and enjoying my children rather than always doing housework. So I just think of, okay, did I do my best and am I happy with my best? And I'm going to learn different things as I explore different things. And I'm pretty happy with it. I was happy. All right, I've just driven from Queensland to come here to do this class. I left at 1:30 on Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, and I've driven the whole day and gotten here just before I started the class. I thought I've had 4 hours sleep a couple of places and an hour's sleep here, and I just keep driving and I'm happy, and I think of how do I create happiness in my car? And I just create happiness, and I talk to my family, and I said hello, and I know you're not home, and I'll have things stuff to do. But I thought, I'm happy. Because what I do is if I create happiness for others, I have to be part of it. So I have to be happy. See, and what I do is I change the meanings in my head to make it work for me. And then that way I find my confidence. So if something's not working, change the meaning. Do you know what I mean by a meaning? So I could say, I only know that I am loved by my husband if he talks nicely to me. So when he doesn't talk nicely to me, I can turn around and say, my husband doesn't love me. Can you see how that can react? But what I do is I don't say that. I say, how do I create happiness through the way I talk and how I am and how I can create? And then if someone else doesn't accept it, it means that I have still created happiness. It's they have chosen not to be happy. Do you see how that would change the way I feel? So think about what you could take on. All right? I know it's 12 o'clock. I know we're going to have a quick break and have some food. Yes? Trish, yeah, is it time for a break?
Actually, we're thinking, what do you think, what's best? Because it seems that we're all very, very into what you're trying to share with us.
Yes.
But if we continue maybe with question and answer, it's all up to, because...
Well, why don't we just have a quick question and answer? Has anybody got any more questions that they would like you to answer while I'm here? Because what I'm doing is I'll give you all the tools to talk to these boys. Alright, but then I'll show you how to deal with the boys if it gets difficult. Alright?
So, do you think it's best for us to continue, or would you prefer to have a break, have a coffee and tea first, and then we continue?
Well, what we can do is, if you like, why don't we have a coffee, tea, something to eat. If anyone's got any questions they would like to ask me on a personal level, they can ask me on a personal level. And if I think something that they've shared with you to the group, I will actually add it in just at the start of the next session, and then we can go from there. How's that sound? Does that sound? Would that work for you? Yes. All right. Well, we'll do that.
10 minutes would be
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. All right, let's go.
Okay. And in the meantime, probably we could just rearrange ourselves or
Yes.
do a couple or 2 by 2 and
Yeah, find someone that you would like to work with a partnership in the break, and then yeah, and see how you go with that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just there we go. See, there you go.